Hey everyone, what's up? I guess yes, I'm recording. Good. Excuse my face. I actually had some stuff done on my face yesterday, so I'll tell you about my new job, and that's kind of where I got some of this stuff done. It's actually like I got laser hair removal to update and keep it going, and then I got laser. It's like a skin resurfacing sort of thing. It's called Limelight. It's a type of laser that is used to remove dark spots from sun damage and so on and so forth. So what it does is when the laser goes in, it actually pulls all the sun damage. And this is from like 10 years ago when I used to tan, especially in the tanning beds and stuff, which just wreck your skin. But so right here, all these little tiny little freckles you see all over my face, like right there, the little redness. It's actually, when she did it, it pulls all the dark to the front, to the top of the skin, the redness, and then like a week later, it just washes away. So it's pretty interesting. It's called Limelight. I mean, you can look into it. It's my work does it. So my new job, which I started 3 months ago, is it's a medical aesthetics and hair spa, and of course I do the hair at the location. And so yeah, so I got this job. It's kind of my dream job. It just kind of popped up at the last minute. I lost my old job. It was one of these things where I've been there since I was 18. I did move to California in between, of course, but I started there initially when I was 18, and I'm 34 now, so that's a long time at one place. Anyway, and I ended up having, there was a lot of toxicity. I wasn't really respected, and after all those years, I was treated as though I was kind of like like I was new or something. I don't want to go too much into the negativity of my past job, but nonetheless, a few days later, I actually landed the most amazing job that I've ever had with the most amazing crew. It's pretty incredible, especially after all these years of doing hair. And I have a lot of clients. So currently I'm running about 132 clients that come in regularly or so on and so forth. So anyway, so I'm very busy and I'm doing my own thing. They give me so much respect. And at my new job, at my old job, my transition was kind of talked about in ways like, it was always a topic. It always kind of came up. It was always something. And so at my new job, I knew the girl that got me the job. I went to high school with her, and I actually used to do her hair before I moved to California, which is actually before I transitioned. And the biggest compliment I've gotten from this new job is not once has anyone said anything about it. It's never come up in topic. It's one of those subjects that's just very not even a compliment, which is the best compliment for a transgender person. So I don't like when people try and say, oh, well, you've done a good job, or blah, 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 fucking bullshit. I see it as like, just treat me as what I am, and if I bring the topic up or something comes up, then that's completely fine. But yeah, no. No. So this place has been so respectful and just so amazing. So my life has done this huge turnaround, and I'm in this thing where I'm actually removing all the stuff from my house. And I don't know if you guys saw that Tidying Up on Netflix, but I'm trying to get rid of all my clothing, and I'm trying to just really strip my house bare. I'm painting these walls in my living room. I don't mind this color. It's like a dark emerald, kind of bluish green color, but I'm going to be getting rid of it. I'm going to do grays. I'm going to the very minimal colors and whatnot. I might do that next week, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm rambling on. So to my personal life, I think you guys knew, 5 years ago I had a really bad relationship with this guy, and he cheated on me, and it was pretty horrible. But nonetheless, I ended up getting him back in the long run, because I have a rule when I date someone that once you're official, if they ever cheat, I never sleep with them ever again. And what do cheaters always want? They always want what they can't have. And so this guy, I still do his hair, which is just disturbing. But it's something that he will always look at me, and I'll be that one that he just can never have again. So, they can win a battle, but I will always win that war. It's a bit dramatic. Anyway, but so that traumatized me. And for 3 years, I dated a lot of people after him just really fast, and had some pretty bad things. And it just kind of messed me up. And I also had a death in the family. My brother, I was the youngest, and he was the middle child. He died in a pretty tragic accident, and it's one of those things that's my mother's really messed up over it. I don't know, I'm weird about it, because for some reason I had some kind of peace when I think about it, because I had this dream after he passed away, and and it was very clear that he was fine in, you know, that sort of sense. It still messes me up because it's a childhood thing. We didn't really live together too much in the last 10 years of his life, but it's a family tragedy, and all of that kind of built up all on top of me. And I had a really rough time 2 years ago. I was very overweight, depressed. I had so much anxiety that I couldn't even go to the grocery store without having like a panic attack. I wasn't going out. I wasn't communicating with people. I still worked, but I think I lost a chunk of clients because it was one of those things where I just had to pay the bills and survive, and that's not how you live. That's not a way of living. And I went to Yosemite and I went hiking a couple of years ago, September 2017, end of September, and it was so beautiful. And I ended up going on this hike called Cathedral Lake in Yosemite, and it's where a lot of the tourists are not. And I went up this hike, and it was 14 miles I went up there, and it was a bit much, but it was the most incredible experience. And I realized when I was walking uphill that my hip was hurting, and when I was walking downhill coming back, my knee was hurting. But the overall experience, and I was 32 at the time, so that's when I was like, you are out of shape and you're depressed, and I've been sitting on the couch for so long. And with all that anxiety and going from such a low energy lifestyle with like just nothing, and in a way, honestly, this is a horrible way of describing it, but I was waiting to die from depression, and it was so bad. And that's why I never made videos, because I didn't feel good about myself. I had no strength, and I really got to that point. I'm really good at getting to that low and then yanking myself out. But when I was in Yosemite, I had this moment when I was walking back, and I told myself, I was like, I want to live. You know, I want to live. And my transition has nothing to do with any of this, which is really bizarre. Like, you would think a lot of trans people are very depressed over transition and so on and so forth, but I'm actually very comfortable with my body. We'll go into that in a bit. But Yosemite changed my life, and I want to go back this year. But it was this moment I had where I got back, and I was like, I've got to get myself in shape, make sure my hormones are on track, because I was, I was getting hormones, but they weren't working correctly in my system. They actually weren't having an impact, so I was really depressed, I think, because of medication. So always go to your endocrinologist. Always keep up with it. Make sure you know exactly what your levels are. It's so important. And always check with your doctor about everything you get. Of course, when I first started with hormones, the only way you can get them was, going through a therapist, which I've never been to, and going through someone on the street or through online, something like that. And I chose the online, and I used to do it, and it was fine. But I do not recommend that. It's so dangerous, and girls have died from shit like that. And so I'm very grateful I survived, but things are much different now. Now doctors know what it is, and they know how to treat it, and so on and so forth. Anyway, so I'm going back into my health now. So I started working out, and I told myself that being thin was not an option. For me, I wanted to be strong. And I wanted to be in the best shape of my life. And I want to be in best shape for the rest of my life. So I cut out sugar. I stopped eating, sugar and processed foods, so on and so forth. I actually started with the Whole30 and which was great. It was a a send-off in the beginning. But then I started lifting heavy weight, and I've really gotten into it. It's pretty incredible. And so it's been a year and a bit, so it was 2017, December, that I started lifting heavy weights, and it's been a dream. My life has gotten so much better. I'll never stop for the rest of my life. And it wasn't about being thin, it was about being strong, which I think was the most important thing. As far as my transition goes, still no plans to ever get any surgery or anything like that done. And we're going to go into this in my next video. So I told someone in the comments in my last video that I'm going to go into this topic, but it was the being defined by your genitalia, which actually I think is very dangerous in both ways. So for me, my genitalia, which I guess you could say is male, I have breasts from hormones and genitalia male. It doesn't bother me. When I first started, it was like, I always thought it was like a puzzle, and my generation was so black and white. When I first started, it was like, you can't have facial piercings, you can't have short hair, you can't do this, you can't do that, you've got to go all the way, you've got to get your tits, you got to get your vagina, and then facial surgery and brow bone reduction, and once you get all that done, then you can officially be like a woman. And the funny thing is we're going to go into this in my next video more, so I'm just going to touch on it. For me, I think that is one of the most dangerous mentalities. Because when you realize after all of that you're not happy, that's got to be a really dark place. So I think it's, we'll go into this later, but I think it is so important for trans women and trans men to look at their body, and if there's something that bothers you, and take time to let the hormones do their work, because people want to jump on it like immediately. But if you let the hormones do their job, your mind is changing, you're going through puberty all over again. And I really don't even think about my transition. It's so rare that I think about it. There's nothing to upkeep, and I have had fantastic sex before, and I couldn't imagine it being any better. And so I'm like, what's to fucking bother about? You know, I'm like, it's kind of, everything's just kind of fine. And I know it's different for everyone, but for me, yeah. So, and I think I would personally identify as maybe gender neutral, because I actually accept a lot of myself now. A lot of my tastes, I started collecting a lot of statues. We'll go into that in more videos in the future, because I got some really cool statues coming in from some nerdy ass shit. And there'll be unboxings and all that shit. But yeah, so my life honestly right now has never been better. It is, my transition is the best it's ever been. I'm more comfortable than I've ever been. Fitness is on another level, and it's never going to stop, and it's only going to get better. Relationship-wise, I dated a guy for the last year. He was a long distance in Baltimore, and it was fine, and he was stable, but very unemotional. Didn't really, the idea of commitment was just way over his head, and he was actually totally fine with my transition. He introduced me to his friends. Nothing was ever an issue, and they were really cool people, but I was willing to move there, and he kind of insinuated on an open relationship, which I do not do. I think it's fucking bullshit. I don't care what anybody says. That's my opinion. I believe if you want to be in multiple relationships, or whatever it's called, plutonic, or date around and stuff, just be single. Don't allow the heart to enter into that situation, because someone's gonna get hurt regardless, and it's just wrong. I don't fuck with the heart. And so I broke up with him 2 weeks ago, I think. I don't know. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And I haven't heard a word. It's been very quiet, which I'm fine with. However, 2 days before I broke up with him, I met someone else, and this is very new to me, and it's I've never felt this way. I guess they better not watch this. They're gonna watch this, and they're gonna see what I have to say, but it's the truth. I was on Instagram, and it's on this page called Trans and Inked, or something like that. Trans and Inked like tattoos. That's the name, Trans and Inked. And I saw their postings for 2018. It was like the top pictures, and I had this little collage. And right in the center, there was this person. And it was a body shot, nude body shot. And I saw this person. I was like, who the hell is that? And I clicked on it, and it's a girl. For the first time in my life, I've never found a woman attractive, ever, until this moment. And not only that, she's also trans. And I've never found a trans girl attractive. I've had plenty hit on me, but I've never ever thought any one of them was attractive. And she was very, she's very tomboyish. She's also a power lifter. She's a bodybuilder. And so she's ripped, and it's incredibly inspiring in a lot of ways. But not only that, once I wrote her, I just had to write her. I don't know why, it was this pull, and I wrote her on Instagram, and she wrote back, and of course I had the stomach drop, you know, the butterflies, and I actually sent pictures of her to my ex-boyfriend, and I told him straight away, I was like, isn't she incredible? Look how beautiful she is, and yada yada. And he said, yeah, she's really pretty. I was like, I've never found myself attracted to a woman before, because in a relationship, and I was still in a relationship with him, I believe you have to have that honesty. If you find someone attractive, you tell the person you're with, you get it out in the open, you don't fuck around, you don't cheat, but you definitely make it very clear that this is what's happening in your head. Otherwise, a relationship won't work. Just break up and be single. So I have no fear. I was scared. I wasn't scared to tell him about this girl, and so the next day he kind of freaked out. I hadn't seen him in 4 months, because I tried to break up with him 4 months ago, because he wanted an open relationship, which I don't do, and it's like he didn't accept the breakup. So we just been chatting, and the holidays went by and stuff, and I was very busy with my new job, and so I think maybe he kind of figured something was happening, and he called me the next day and wanted to come in town this past weekend, and then for his birthday, and it was like he was just suddenly like very attentive, and I found it very weird. So I said, okay. And that next day she wrote me and told me on Instagram that she's not gonna lie, that she's been on my Instagram Live, and that's when I told her that I was currently on it, right as she texted me. And so we called each other that night, and we talked on the phone, and it was just kind of meant to be. I don't know, it just seemed so right, and that's when I felt like I was cheating. And so from that point, I called my boyfriend at the time, and I told him straight away that I broke up with him, and I told him that there was an emotion between me and this other person, and so she was like, I hope I didn't influence this, and I told her, I was like, no, this has been needing to be done for a long time. He was finished a long time ago. Anyway, so we've been talking every day and every night, and it's just taken off, and she's coming to visit soon, and hopefully I can make a video when she comes to town, and you guys get to meet her. She's an influencer, I guess that's what she calls herself. I guess that's what I was back in the day. But she also had this moment where she found out who I was. So she said she's a lot younger than I am. She's 12 years younger than me. I don't know what the fuck am I doing, but I don't give a shit. I feel so right, I'm doing it anyway. And she's 23, and I'm 34. And she told me that when she was younger, she used to look up to me on my YouTube, and she said she just thought she knew who I was, and I told her I have a blog and so on and so forth, and she kind of freaked out. I think she's a little weirded out that suddenly out of nowhere here I come along and go after her. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so it's a beautiful thing, and I'll let you guys know about how that's going. But who knew I could possibly be fluid, huh? I'm not fluid with open relationships, but I'm sure shit, I guess you can call me a lesbian now. I'm in a lesbian relationship, and she's beautiful in every way. I mean, physically it's just incredible. I don't know how to describe it. She defies a lot of the transgender, like my generation's where it's black and white. You gotta be a woman, you gotta do this, you gotta have long hair, she rarely wears makeup, and she's just very simple and very tomboyish, and has this really cute haircut, and she's not ashamed to have muscles, which I find really respectful for all women. I think it's a stereotype that women need to stop. They can have muscles, and so I lift heavy weights, and I trying to get kind of big, and I just believe in strong and lean and tone, and I believe that is, for me, my whole life I always thought sporty, fit, muscular women were always the most attractive, not these dainty little weak women. No offense to dainty little weak women all around the world, but it was one of those things that's what I always wanted to be. And you know what I always described it as? Like alpha female. You know, I really do. And I always thought that for me to be in a relationship with someone, they always had to be an alpha, whatever they were. And when I look at this girl, she's young, but this girl is, I think both of us can be quite intimidating to each other. Anyway, so that's my life. I've got a lot going on, a lot of things happening. I'm also on keto, so if you guys are interested, I can do recipes. I also have my Instagram, which is Fiora West Coast on Instagram. If you guys want to, you can follow me. I'm starting to do little exercise things. I popped up a little quick video on like some of these what is it called, hip thrusts and some squats. It's really silly. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to edit or anything, so this is all quite new to me, and it's all, you know, back in the day we just were lucky if we got the camera working, you know. So I'm very excited to be back, and I'm excited about my life right now, and I think I want to give hope to transgender people out there. I also want to give hope to girls that don't want to get all this surgery done or have all this shit done to themselves, and I believe that it's so important to show someone who can be because I'm incredibly comfortable with my body, 100%. I mean, mine now, the only thing I already had dysphoria about was being overweight. That was my dysphoria, and everyone, you know, suffers from some form of dysphoria, and it's fine to be overweight, but for me, I'm not a part of the whole shaming people for being overweight, so on and so forth. I think that's wrong, but I do believe that we've gotten far too lenient on health, and I think this life is way too short, and there is no excuses for being unhealthy. Like, it's what you put in your mouth, what you do when you exercise, and so on and so forth. You don't make fun of people, you're not cruel to people, but there is one thing that is so important, and it's taking care of yourself, especially on hormones. You know, it's a risk, and I'll never get off hormones, so it's a risk. Anyway, so that's my little update. Excuse my face with these things. I look like I've got freckles, and I've tried to cover that. That it's gonna flake off and fall off, but yeah, excuse my puffy, weird face. But I've missed you guys, and I really enjoyed seeing all the comments in the last video, and I really will see more of you guys. Yeah, and I might even do like a little cooking thing. I love cooking, and I might show you guys how I do my meal prepping for keto, because there's a girl out here on Instagram. She wrote me, she found me back on here, and she told me that she was curious about how I do my meal prepping. So I'll show you guys where I get the Tupperware on Amazon, little containers. I'll show you how to weigh out your food if you guys are ever interested in it. Currently I'm on keto. It's been a month and a half. It's pretty tough at this point. I feel like I really just want pizza and pasta. Anyway, so we'll go into more of that in the future. And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm so glad you guys are back again. I'm glad you guys are there, because I mean, my video has got a lot of views. It's not what it used to be, but I think that'll build over time. And you guys have a great afternoon, and enjoy your week. Bye.